thought it was a parody! What?
I think Warner Brothers is about to put the nail in the coffin and destroy live-action DC movies for quite some time. So they just actually released the 5-minute preview that was going to be attached to Minecraft for everybody to see because people were leaking it online. Now, I can't show the clip because Warner Brothers will copyright strike it, but I'm going to kind of talk about what the clip showed. It starts out with Superman beat up, and it actually shows a few of the crystals from the Fortress of Solitude. It's underground, and this doesn't make sense, and I'll talk about that here in a few minutes. And then it shows Superman all injured, and he's calling for Krypto. And Krypto comes in, but it's not like the teaser they showed. Krypto comes in and literally jumps on top of him, and you hear, doosh. That's exactly what it sounds like. And then he jumps like 3 more times, doosh, doosh, doosh. And that's what it sounds like. And I'm thinking, who did the sound effects for this? And the dog's jumping on him because he wants Superman to play, and Superman's not playing. And his arm flops around, his leg. Krypto pulls his leg out, from the snow, so it's almost at an L from the rest of his body. Looks ridiculous.
You did that to Superman!
And then he grabs his arm and he's shaking it, and Superman's like, no, Krypto, you got to take me home. Krypto, stop. You got to take me home. And then he kind of throws his arm over, reaches his cape, and then throws his arm back with the cape. It's super ridiculous.
Okay, shall we break it down? Okay. What is up, guys? Welcome to another video. Hope that you guys are all doing good. In this video, we're going to break down the new Superman footage, which we got to see. Now, I have some thoughts when it comes to this specific Superman. I think that James Gunn has me torn between 2 places. The DC fan in me watches this and I'm like, you know what? If I hadn't seen Man of Steel and watched Batman vs. Superman, I think that I would have liked this movie way more. But I do think that James Gunn is doing very big mistakes, and we're going to break that down in this specific video. But before we start, of course, do not forget to like, comment, and share because it helps us out in the algorithm. Let's start with the first thing. Now, when it comes to big budget movies like this, you as a director, you have to pick a specific demographic. And I just feel like James Gunn doesn't really understand that about this movie. He doesn't. Because when I watched the clip, I was like, it kind of feels like Superman is giving birth in a way. And I'm getting the vibes of like goofy and serious at the same time. So those 2 tones really don't mesh well together. They don't.
I decided to do something that put me in even a worse mood, and that was I watched the new preview for Superman that was put out by James Gunn. Now, as y'all know, not a huge James Gunn fan. Fine in Guardians of the Galaxy when it's all sort of like ridiculous humor, kind of gonzo humor. People unsurfaced his old tweets that were kind of jokey, ugly tweets in early days of Twitter. James Gunn, based on those old tweets, was actually fired by Marvel. And I will say that I publicly supported the idea that he should be rehired because you shouldn't cancel people based on jokes that they made back when Twitter was a jokier place. And now he's directing the new Superman movie. And it sucks. It's bad. I hate to break it to you. It's just, it's terrible.
I must calm myself. I think it looks okay. I had fun with it as a DC fan. But I'm not like in awe. I'm not like looking at it being like, that's perfect. I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. I still see it doing Man of Steel numbers, like 600 range, maybe 700. I think it'll perform like the Batman did, which I thought was a wonderful movie, which should have made more money than it did. Yeah, some people were like, $1 billion. Well, maybe some of the stuff they showed at CinemaCon looks better than this. But I'm really shocked that they only had that one little scene in the beginning. So So again, and I also don't understand. Just don't understand why Superman would scream when the sunlight hit him. I would think he would think it was wonderful. I've seen the Superman in the sun a lot, and I never saw him screaming in there.
If James Gunn was just a little bit better visually and understood certain scenes a little bit more, I think that he could have actually knocked this out of the park. They could have made the scene way totally different, where he's hurt, he needs help, he's laying there, there's some flashbacks, and then Krypto comes and Krypto starts licking his face. Krypto's a little bit sad, and then he says, "Take me home," and then Krypto pulls him to the Fortress of Solitude. And then the robots come, and even, I have to say, the whole thing with the robots, the fact that they're female and male, it's like, robots should not have any genders. Like, what evolutional advantage would they have to be a female robot and a male robot? It makes no sense. What this solidified for me was just the fact that I think that this movie is going to flop.
Attitude here is totally wrong. It's just Guardians of the Galaxy in a Superman suit, and that ticks me off. It really does, because as a lifelong fan of the Superman brand, let me just say that it's not that hard to get Superman right. He's supposed to be the embodiment of everything cool and heroic about America, and, of course, he's supposed to be charming as well. That's the whole shtick.
Even demographic-wise, right? There are certain movies which are made for teenagers. They're going for the teenage demographic. Movies like Twilight, The Hunger Games, those movies are made for teenagers. If I were to ask you guys right now, which demographic is James Gunn going for? The way it looks like he's going for everybody. And you can't really do that with superhero movies. You have to pick a specific demographic and cater to that demographic.
It's over. It's over. And here's the thing. I already told you guys. If it's good, I will give James Gunn his flowers. I will say I was wrong. The promotions you put out were bad in my eyes. They made it look like trash. The suit's still trash, but the movie was epic. It was great. You totally were correct about this, sir. That I will give him his flowers, okay? I built my channel on being me, giving honest reactions. Honest, okay? I'm not gonna fake a reaction for you guys and oh my God! Oh, I'm not gonna do any of that stuff. I built this on honesty, telling you the truth, okay? I don't know if this movie is woke or not. All I know, though, is that the promotions are bad. The trailers are bad. The pictures are bad. The majority of what we've seen has been bad to mediocre. I haven't seen anything where I'm like, this is good. This is good. I ain't seen nothing great. My favorite superhero of all times, Christopher Reeve, rest in peace. Henry Cavill, you are the man. I swear to God, we need you back. And we need Zack Snyder back. That's the way I'm feeling right now. I'm honest. I'm going to tell you the truth. Okay? I love Zack's work. Have I loved every single thing Zack has done? No. I'm honest. Ain't no D-Rider here. I'll tell you the truth.
This just solidifies exactly every single thing that I thought would happen has happened. There's just too much stupidity.
I held out some hope that this movie was going to be good. This has given me zero hope. I've lost all hope after this preview. It looks ridiculous. It looks like it's going to be silly. You know, you heard the reports of it being silly. I totally believe that now. It's going to be juvenile. It's going to be goofy and silly. That's not what superheroes are. Superman is not goofy and silly. Okay? He's just not. But again, this is what James Gunn knows. It's what he does.
That was one of the stupidest superhero scenes I've ever seen, literally, in my life. It's over.
Warner Brothers is a terrible company. They're run by morons. They're run by horrible people, and they've chosen the worst possible people to come in and try and save the company. This is just ridiculous at this stage. I have no hope for the future. None.
Okay, to sum the video up, I think that James Gunn is way in over his head. He's playing with two different tones which do not mesh well together, and this movie is going to flop really, really bad. When I was in Thailand a year ago, I talked about this extensively, and I was like, I just don't understand why we have to get James Gunn. We could have gotten any other director, but for some reason we had to go with the goofy guy. And I think it's partially because Warner Brothers can't really attract really talented directors anymore. They have to go with kind of like the directors which agree with everything that they want. And I think the biggest problem that this movie has is just that it's trying to be everything all at once, and that is not going to work. But the question which I have to you guys is just, when you watch this trailer, are you actually impressed? Because the vibes which I'm getting from it, it's pregnant Superman, a grown man screaming like a girl. That just puts me off. Then I'm getting stupid jokes from robots which have genders. It's just like, that's weird. I get the argument that it's like a goofy movie, but we're getting Scooby-Doo Superman. We're getting Tamu Superman, and we're getting, I guess, Alibaba Superman. I'm so happy for Henry Cavill's sake that he wasn't connected to this. Because imagine if they brought Henry Cavill back and James Gunn was doing this to Henry Cavill.